Hi there, you're welcome to class. Today is our day 4 of our Excel class, Advanced Excel Teaching, and my name remains Jude Chukwudi Ilobelu, your facilitator and your coordinator. You can also call me your consultant as far as Excel is concerned. Today we are going to continue from where we stopped in our last class. In our last class, we were able to use a given data fluency to see how we can be able to answer some important questions that comes from Excel dealings, especially as it has to do with logics. We were able to use the question given to answer question on count A, count blank, count, look at minimum function, look at maximum function, sum and average, and we are going to continue today in looking at data preparation tasks. So when we engage data preparation tasks, we're going to also use other Excel functions to make the work or the task easy for us. So the first question is derive a new column for year, month. This is the specific that was asked us to do using the data that we have. We are going to look at how to do this now. And this is the format. It should appear in year first, then in month. So we'll go to our data to look at it first, then we'll come back to generate the function. So when you look at the data properly, we see we'll have order date. This is the date in which the customer made an order to make purchase for the different goods that they need. I also have the birth date. This is the date in which the customer was born. And when you look at this, you see we have two different work. Maybe this work has been done a bit, but we are going to teach you how it was done. So let's look again at the question so that we will understand what we are expected to do. We say we should derive a new column for year, month. New column for year, month. Okay. So we can use our order date to do this deriving. So how do we do that? First of all, we'll increase let's increase the column to our left by maybe say by 2 or by 3. Okay. then you just increase by 1. We can also go again and then increase the left again. So we have 2 columns that have expanded. So what do we want to do? We want to have our new column for year, month. So we'll now go to the place where we're supposed to put our answer, and we're going to use a function that is called a text function. That is what we're going to use to derive the question we have been asked. So how do we do it? You come again as usual, you put equal to, then you type text. When you type text, the text function will come up and it will give you its argument, which is the value. Then you go ahead to format the text the way you want it to look like. So having done this, you can see it is also appearing in our formula bar. So we can as well continue our work here and the answer will still be the same. So we'll move our cursor to our order date when we want to do that. But if we want to get a very good answer, since we want to populate here, then there is no point in using this to work. So we can clean this and just indicate the function that we used in that space so that it will guide us on what we have done. So we can come here and put your equal to, then you put your text function, since that is where we want to see our answer placed. So we'll come to the order date and we click on it because the first argument is value. So the value is coming from the order date. So we'll click on order date. So after we have done that, we go ahead to do the next thing, which is inserting a comma. And now we want to now format that text to look exactly the way we are requested to do that, which is year, y, and now we have D or month. So Y stands for year, the D stands for the day, and the M stands for the month. So we now put up our apostrophe, double quoted apostrophe. Then we now indicate how we want our work to look like, exactly how it was requested. Then then we'll now close it. So when we do this, you see we have also fulfilled the other request here. So you can now click enter. You see our work now has been placed in the form that we are asked to do, which is year and month. Now you can also play with it so that you can see other things that we can be able to get before we populate. Our work is showing us this. Maybe I decide to come to this and reduce the y, maybe by, let's just try and see, remove one of the y, we'll have 3y, and we'll click enter. Let's see what it will give us. You see, give us the same answer. Okay, let's go again and then come here and then click on the y again and remove one more y. Now we only have 2y, and we'll click our enter. See, it has now moved from 2011 to just 1106 because we have removed 2y from it. And when we come back again, click on the function, and we'll come back again and introduce back the 2y, and we enter. You see, it has given us the full date. And now you see that there's a dash in between the year and the month. Okay, let's do something. Let's come again and see if we can be able to alter it. remove this and put maybe a dot and click enter. You see our year and month is being separated now by a dot and no more a dash. Okay, let's also see if we can come to the function. This m, let's make it to be 4. Let's increase our m and see what will happen. So you see, when we increase it to 4, it will give us the full name, not number. That is what happened. So when you tinker on this giving procedure, you can see that you get variance answer, but be sure to answer the question appropriately. So the question is telling us to arrange our work, this new column, we should arrange it in 4y, which is full name for the full year, and the month should be in a number. So we'll now go now and do what we are asked to do by clicking on it again and coming here and removing the SSM and removing also the dot and putting back our dash and clicking enter. So this is what we have. Now for you to now populate the remaining periods as we have been doing, you bring your cursor to this something like a point here and your cross will become light and you double click on it so it will auto populate your row. So once that has been done, we can now come here and name it, which is called year month. So we call it year month. Okay. So maybe to differentiate it from the one that we already are working with, we can maybe fill the back, or we can come here and use maybe not white, maybe something like a brown, something that will be visible, purple. Well, purple is dark. Let's look for a better color that can be able to something like this. Okay, it's not entirely white, but it can be able to show that this work is a work that we just did now. So we have answered the question of creating the year month, and we did it using what? The text function. So we can come now here and write that we use text function. So the next question is derive a new column for weekday like Monday. Now this question is asking us now to go further to just tell us which day a particular order was made, irrespective of the month or the year. So we are going to also create a new column to answer the question. So we'll come here and create a new column. So we use the same idea of what we just did now. So we use text function once again. So when we use text function, the argument is the same, the value and the format. So where is the text function coming from? We are generating it from the order date. So we'll click on the order date. We put our comma. Then we now put our inverted comma, double quotation mark. Then because it's just day that is required, we just concentrate on D. It can be capital letter, it can be lower letter, it doesn't matter, it will still give you the answer. So D D D D D. This will give us the full day. So let's enter and see. See, it has given us Thursday as a full day. Now you can also tinker with it by coming again and reducing this D maybe by 1 first and see what it will give you. Just TUR. Okay, We'll come again and click on it and see if we can reduce the D again by one more D, and see what it will give us. Remove one D and you click our enter. It has now given us just a number. So what we need, and the number may be confusing, so we need is to put our D in 4 places. So put your D in 4 places and you click enter. So it will give you the Thursday that we desire. Then you now auto populate by double clicking here, and it will give you all the days as far as the days are concerned. And I can call it days or day. Call it day. Okay. So we have been able to answer the second question, and we'll also use a function which is the text function. Text function was used to answer that. So the next question is to merge the first name and last name together as customer name in lower case. Now you can let's unpack this question to understand it further. We say first of all we should merge. That means we should join two different columns. Now the first column to join is the first name. We are going to find out if we have this on our table. And the second is the last name. We are going to join them together and we'll give it a new name, customer name. And this new customer name should be in lowercase. So these are specific instructions. So let's go to our table and see what we have on our table. Okay, so this is our table. We can see that we have first name here. We have first name and also have last name. And when you look at the first name, you see that it is in capital letters. And when you look at the last name, you see that they are in proper arrangement, which is the capital letter first, then the other ones in lower names. So none of them is satisfying the condition that we are asked to do. So we are going to, first of all, we have many ways that we can do this. One is to convert these names to their proper names, then join it and now bring them to lower, or we can bring them as they are together, then convert them to lower case, and we still have the same answer. So let's start to see what we can do about this. We can come again and create a space for ourselves, and then insert column to the left. Then we now put equal to. Now for us to bring these two names together, we are going to use the function called concat. That is in order to merge two functions, two names, two columns, we are using concat. So you come and type concat, and when you come, you see we have concat and concatenate. Some Excel Excel tool or Excel table or Excel function in some laptops may not be able to carry the or concat and concatenate. Some we have, but sometimes concatenate will not be showing. So we use concat and see how it looks. Then we can also look if concatenate can also do it, which I doubt, but we'll have to try it and see. The good thing about this is that you always continue to try new things. It is in trying that you begin to become better and proficient in what you do. So we'll click on concat. And now what is the argument? The argument is simple. You just put up the text, join it together, and you close it with a comma. Then you can enter it and you get your answer. So always be careful to observe the instruction in your argument so that you don't make any mistake in whatever you are doing. So we want to concat now. What are we concating? We are concating the first name Kesley, which is K2, and we are concating it Wait, the next thing is comma. We are going to do a lot of things here, but follow me as we go. Then we'll have to put Raji L2. You can see we have joined these two together, and we can go ahead to enter and see we have gotten the name. But there's something wrong with this our answer. You can look at it critically. You can see that Kesley and Raji, the first name and the last name, has no separator. They are just glued together and it does not make any sense. So we'll have to go again to make it to have sense. So how do we do that? We can come up here. You see, these are two different work. We can use the apostrophe again, and we'll give a space up and put another one. Then we'll go ahead and put a comma. Don't forget it. Now this space we have given here will also help the work to have a space as we join them together so that they are not glued together. So having done that, we can now go ahead and click enter. You see that the name is becoming better. It's becoming better because we have been able to now separate the two first name and the last name. But it has not answered our question yet, but we can go ahead to populate first of all this name, the first and last name, by double clicking, and it has populated our work. So we're still going to go ahead and we can do it here, or you can open a new column. So let's take it step by step. Let's open a new column and see now how we can be able to answer the question. The question is what? To merge this first name and second name and also ensure that they are in lowercase. So now for us to answer the lowercase question, we'll come again and we'll click on equal to. Now we're going to use a function that we call proper. Proper function helps to arrange our work in the proper way. Just like I see this Friday, it starts from the first name, the first alphabet is capital, other ones will follow, but this is proper, and then proper can be used here. What we're going to use is lower, but we can use proper first to maybe arrange these names so that they will look okay before we go to lower. So that I also wanted to see how we can use proper function. So we can now use proper, using proper function. See the proper function here, so that you can see, sorry, it moved. So normally you see such when you go, don't be dismayed. Go again and type proper and click on proper function. What is only asking as an argument is the text. Just include the text and proper will take care of the rest. So what text are we talking about? This text, this name, we want it to appear in proper way, and we click enter. You see that Kesley Raje has been put in a proper way, so we can populate. Then we'll now go again and get the lower that we are asked to do. So we have populated this, so we can now go ahead and now get the lower that the question demanded. Then we know we have answered that question. So we'll get the lower. Let's shift a bit so that we can see what we are doing. So we'll say equal to, then we are now using lower. We are using the lower function. So if there is a lower, that means there should also be an upper. And if we can be able to get anything using lower, you can also do similar thing to using upper to get the opposite. That is invariably what it's telling you. So I leave you to the thoughts, and maybe you can practice that to see what it turns out to be. So for lower, the argument is also just text. So what are we getting the lower? Kesley Reggie, which you can also do here at the same time, get the same answer. But just for the sake of giving you other functions, we have to break this into this piece so that we can understand it step by step. So when you click on this, that's all that the argument requires. You click your enter. You see the Kesley Regia is now in small, small capital, small letter, no more in capital letter, so you can populate. Okay. So we have now populated. So we can now call this customer name as demanded. Customer name. So this is our customer name. So we also have an issue coming up here now, because you see we have involved in the creation of columns which necessarily we may not need in this work. It makes our work look clumsy. You should also know how you can be able to erase this. Now if I decided to, because I've gotten what I wanted, and I will come here, remember you can always go back to every step you have taken, so do not be afraid to move. So I will now come here and say let me delete. You see what will happen? Let me delete this because I don't need it. I will now come and click on delete. You can see that because there is a link between my first work and the subsequent work, whatever is done that cuts that link will affect your work. So you will see something like this, RF, REF, REF everywhere, and you become confused. Even the very answer we got is also affected. So let's go back one step back so that you can bring us where we were before. Okay, now peace has returned because we did not delete again. Have that in mind. I will teach you how you can remove this issue and it will not affect your outcome. I will teach you that, but it's not going to be in this class. Just pay attention to what we are doing right now so that we don't too much deviate and defocus your attention. That is the principal thing of a data scientist and a data analyst, to ensure that whoever is your stakeholder should have full concentration and understanding in the most simplified manner of whatever you want to do. So we have made the first name together with the last name, customer name in lower. So we use how many functions to arrive at? First of all, we use concat. We use concat. I said I'm going to also use concatenate. I will do that. Let's finish this and see. We use concat. We also use proper function, and we use lower. So these three functions we are used in just one work. So you can see that we have tried a lot of functions already in just this small assignment. Okay, let's go back and see what will happen if we decide to use concatenate. Let's just try it here and say it's equal to, then we'll now put concatenate. We want to see what it will be of. So I'm trying to also use this first name, Kinsley, then comma, put up our inverted apostrophe, give a space, put the second one, put up a comma, and concatenate it with Roger, and click enter. Okay, you see this one worked for both concat and concatenate, gave us the same answer. Even if we want to auto-populate too, it also auto-populated. It's alright. So I will delete this, but it will show us that we can also use concatenate for the same problem and we will not be wrong. So we can delete this, and it will delete because it does not have any link with any work that has answer that we are looking at. So it has helped us to also add that we also use what? We also use concatenate. Let me put it closer. Concatenate. So all these functions were applicable. Concatenate, sorry, the spelling has more issue. Let's correct it. Concatenate. Okay. So the next question is, derive customer age as difference between birth date and other date in terms of year. So we want to derive customer age. Now the question is that how can we do that? Let's go back again to the table and see the possibility of doing that. Now for you to get your customer age, you should at least know the date the customer was given birth to. So we'll have birth date. The next thing is the age in the day the customer made the purchase. So we can get that from the order date. So for us to get the birth date, we are going to look the difference between the day the customer was born and the day the customer made purchase. That will give us the customer age. You see, some of these things you have to reason it out, then you now put it into perspective. Okay, so having said that, let's go ahead to see how we can be able to do that. So we'll add another column to our work and we'll come here. Now the question is, what function are we going to use? We are going to try two functions. First of all, we'll try year frac and we'll try year to see what it will give. I've tried the year frac before. We're going to try the year together to see what the answer or the solution will be when we try it. So let's start with the year first. So let's start with year function. So it's equal to, we'll put year. You see we have the two functions here. We want to try them out to see. So this is year, and year is talking about serial number. So here is talking about serial number, and we don't have serial number in this work. So here will not work for this. So because of that, we'll go back again and change the argument. I told you there's no crime in trying things. As long as I'm writing an exam, there's no problem. It is in trying that you get you find your way. So now we are using year frac. So now year frac now have what we need, or the conditions that is given, or the argument is putting up, is what we can meet up with. So the first one is start date and the other one is end date. So what is our starting date? We are starting from the day the customer was born. That means birth year. And if you still have two bets here, any of them can be used, is the same thing. So we'll say let's use this. So bet here, we'll put this up. So what is the next argument? The next argument is you put up, let's go again. Let's start afresh so that we don't have any mistake. It's equals to year frac. Okay, so start date, we pick on the start date, and the next argument is a comma. We'll put our comma, then end date. End date is our order date, so we'll come back again to our order date, and we can click on the order date. So the next argument is basis. Now there's something I want to teach you, which is very, very important. Let's pay attention. Anytime you are trying to generate any argument and there is this bracket, this kind of a block bracket, it means that argument is optional. If you don't need it, you may not apply it. But if you must apply it, you must apply it well. If not, it will affect your answer. It may not give you your desired result. So for this case, we don't need this basis. Basis is the reason for your argument. So we don't need it. So our argument is valid at this point. So we may ignore basis. So that is what we are going to do. So now I can come here and close or here. What you just do is to put up your enter. And now we have gotten our year. And you can see that our year is in fraction. 53 years, 0.808. Now I don't know if anybody can tell us that is 54.24 years or something like that. It doesn't happen. Age normally comes in integer and not in float. So because age comes in integer and not in float, we can go ahead again to do what? And arrange this so that our work will look proper. So we're going to use yet another function. This time our function we are going to use is called int, representing integer. So we want our work to be in integer. So integer means we are seeing the years the way year should be. So we'll come up to the argument. You can put up the integer argument, and it is int. So the argument is just the number. That is what they want. So I can now come to this point and close. So I'm just maxing our initial argument under the int. So we are telling this system that whatever it is that we are working, after we have done it, convert it to integer. That is what we just said here using this little code here. So you put up your equal to, see that it is just giving us an integer age 53. By the time it gets to 54, the person becomes 54 years. It can be 53 and 11 months, you are still 53 because you are not asked to approximate. So have that in your mind. So if we have done that, we can now come and populate this age by double clicking. I see that our customer's age has been determined using this simple function. So we can come here and say customer age. So I've gotten our customer age. I don't know, let's see if there's any other further improvement on that. They say customer age, yes. So what did we use to get our customer age? We use the function year frac, and also used the integer function, the int function. So you can see that we are making serious inroad. Okay, so the next thing now is we are asked to derive the age band based on categories below. Now, this age band, we can see it here, but we'll look at our left hand side, their age band. Of course, if we have not generated this age, it will be difficult for us to now begin to aggregate this age to different band. But because we have done that, it will now be easy for us to answer question 5, which is derive the age band based on categories below. So we have some categories, category 0 to 19 years, we call it early years. The next one is category 20 to 34, young adult. Then we have adult, we have seniors, and anything above we have elderly. So this is what we are going to do now. So we insert our column. So please, you pay proper attention on how this is becoming a little bit sophisticated, and it needs your concentration. So if we have that, now we are going to use a function called if function. If function is also a logical function. Now how does it work? We'll come here and we'll say equal to, remember that is the first rule. Now we'll now come to our if function. If, so we have if error of if any, we have ifs. So I work on the if function. So what is the argument for if function? If function will first of all demand a logical test. After the logical test, it will demand a value if what we have said is true. You can see this option again. Then after that, if possible, if what you have said is false. If it is true, this is false, this. Not like a pathway, you are following a pathway. If a pathway happen to have a particular kind of sign, then you take right, which is true, else you take left. So that is what we are going to do now. So if function, we want to see if this age that we have declared here, if the age is between this range, then we should call it early age. If it is not, then we'll continue. By the time we finish and we're able to aggregate and put our function in perspective, we can now close and see how it will look like. So it say that if this age, so we say if and click on this, which is R2, and we say if this age is less than 19, because our argument here is from 0 to 19, is less to 19, we put comma. Then what do we call it? To call it, we'll bring up our invited comma and say we are going to call it early years. Early years. Then we'll close our invited comma. Then we'll brought another comma here. Then the argument has not finished. So we'll come again and bring our if function again. If we are coming again with another if function, an argument, and they say that if this function here, again, if it is less than 34 years, if it is less than 34 years, what happens? We should call it young adult. That is what the argument is saying. That if after we have gone around and check and say if this particular thing we are seeing is less than 19, it should be early age. Then we are saying again, if the same number is less than 34, that means it is not 19, then we should call it young adult. Then we can now go again and bring up our if function again and say if, now we're looking at the third condition, adult, and say if what? If this argument again is less than 49 years, what do we do? Put up a comma and put our invited to name it, and say we'll call it adult. We'll call it adult and close again. But you see, the condition is not finished. You still need to do another one, which is senior. So we'll come again and say if, and if what? If this figure that we have here is less than 64 years. It's less than 64. What happens? You put your comma, then bring your inverted. So you are calling them seniors. Seniors. So the only condition remaining now is the elderly. So since it's the elderly that's remaining, then it will now be S. Any other thing, if after you have brought this particular age on subjection into this different category and you still did not get an answer, it is saying that you just simply do what? You don't need to quote anything again, just give it the name. That means it is indicating that S, it is we call what? Elderly. Elderly. And you close it. So after you have done this, you see that we have satisfied the condition. Now the last thing we did was this value if false. This is what we just showed you. So if all these ones were not true or they are all false, then let it be elderly. So after you have done that, the next thing you are going to do now is to close all this if condition. Remember, as you are bringing up the if, it is opening up bracket which we have now closed. So you can do that from here. As you have clicked it, see that it has taken position. So just observe, as you continue to close it with bracket, this sign will be moving. It will help you to understand where exactly has not been closed. So you put up the first bracket, see the sign has moved. Put up the second bracket, the sign has moved again. Put up the third one, the sign has closed, showing that it has closed all necessary closing. So this condition, if it has been done well, it should be able to give us an answer. So what do? We click on our enter, and you see it has given us seniors. Now is seniors correct? Now senior is between the age of 50 and 64, and see that our Kesley Raje is 53 years, is above 50 and less than 64, so it can be categorized as what? A seniors. So I will now come and populate my table with it. So I will be able to get the age of our what? Of our customers. So that is a wonderful and a very logical work that we have done. So if you can be able to do what I have just done, I will encourage you to give yourself a pat on the back, and if possible, take a bottle of champagne and you drink to it and be happy with yourself. That means you are becoming tough when it comes to advanced Excel calculation. So what we have done here is we use the if function. So we can put it up. If function was used to get this answer. So the last one is for this phase 2 is data preparation. In data preparation tasks, we are asked to derive the customer value based on spend. Now you can see the next one is customer value based on how much the customer spends when they come to this particular company to make purchase. We are interested in what they spend because it is the spending that determine the profitability of a company and determine how a company can expand and become large. So whatever they are doing there is important to a data scientist and a data analyst. So how do we go about it? It is the same thing that we just done. It's just to improve your memory of using of the if function. So we can go again and see how we can be able to solve this problem. Let's come and create. Let's open up a new column again for this work. So here we'll call here age category. Age category. Yeah. Okay. So we insert new column. So we want to now look at the customer value. Now the question is that where do we generate this customer value from? It will make us to go again to look at our table once again. And when you look at the table, customer value in terms of spending should come from no other place but from revenue, because revenue is what we get from the customer based on their yearly income. They have in yearly income rate. That means the amount the customer can be able to generate or what he gets as income per year, which determines what the customer spent on goods and those goods on the given company. So having gotten that at the back of our mind, excuse me, let's go ahead to work it out. So we'll also use the if function. So we'll say if the same argument, logical test, value if true, then optional value if false. So if we go to look at the spending, 1005 are casual buyers. Then 1005 to 1005 to 2005 are brand seekers. Then 2005 and above are convinced seekers. So we're looking at 1005 and which are casual buyers. So we'll now go to our revenue and click on our revenue. So we can continue our work here. So I say that if this is less than 1500, what do? We call it what? We call that one casual buyers. Casual buyer, can say casual buyers. We can see the right spelling, then we'll make our correction if that correct spelling is not correct. Let's shift and see before we close. What? Okay, casual buyers. The next one is 2005 brand seekers and convenience seekers. Okay, so we'll continue our argument. Okay, because we have shifted this, it has affected our work, so we'll go again and start afresh. That is why you are seeing false here. So we'll go ahead and go again to say if and click on the if function. So maybe you can come here and continue our work. Say if, look for our revenue again. Say if this revenue is less than 1500, comma, then we say these are casual, excuse me, these are casual buyers. Then you close and put your comma. Then the next argument, if, and we're saying that if this value is less than 2500, what do we say? we say these are brand seekers. I will close. So we have finished. So S, if our customer is not within this brand, what do we call them? We'll call them convinced buyers. Convinced buyers. So we have concluded that we can now close. You can see that, okay, convince seekers. So we can now also come over and make correction. I wasn't so sure of the name convince seekers. So we can now come here again and change it to convince seekers and click enter. So you can see that Kesley, who is a customer that's age 53, raised, categorized under seniors, is a convenience seeker because of the value of spending that he's able to execute. So can also populate. So we have been filling our work, preparing our data for further analysis. So now we can now come to and indicate that we use the if function to do this work. So we can see that we have been able to do justice to the second phase of our work, given the data fluency, which is a data preparation task. We have been able to use different functions to address it. So far we have been able to touch how many functions now? We have touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 functions in just answering just two phases of questions. So it shows that functions are very, very critical in Excel when trying to do some work professionally. So I will implore you, as you practice, also engage this function. Don't chicken out. Even if there's any issue, you always know how to get across to us. You can use our number on advertorial to send us WhatsApp question chat, giving us your code, and we get across to you without time wastage. And you can also send us mail through createdataconcepts@gmail.com or createdataconceptc@gmail.com, and we attend to you without wasting of time. If you need us to have a one-on-one time with you after you have watched the video and is still not convinced, or you have a lot of challenges, do not be afraid to book, take a coupon, and we'll attend to you. We'll schedule a period with you and we'll address it. So in our next class, we'll continue to do more things using the analysis, the phase 3 analysis. We are going to solve these problems and get our answers, and those answers will also contribute to our knowledge understanding phase as far as Excel and advanced Excel is concerned. So as I leave your space, please continue to study, continue to practice. Do not be deterred even when the whole thing looks confusing. You take it a step at a time and you become proficient in no distant time. May knowledge be with you. But don't always forget, when you finish your work, click on what? save your work so that you don't come to look for it later. So we save our work. When the work is saved, maybe I can give it a name, Data Fluency, the 4. Okay, so that we will not have issue looking for it next time. So I'll stop here. I hope to see you in next class. May knowledge be with you. Bye bye for now.
In today's world, data is the new gold. Data scientists unlock insights from raw information. They use statistical methods to analyze trends. Data analysts convert data into visual stories. By creating dashboards, they help organizations make informed decisions. Machine learning models can predict future outcomes. They identify patterns that aren't visible to the naked eye. Data cleaning ensures accuracy in analysis. Collaboration across departments enhances data insights. They utilize programming languages like Python and R for analysis. Cloud computing resources expand their capabilities. With big data, they tackle complex challenges across industries. Ethics in data science ensures responsible use of information. The future of data science looks bright with endless possibilities.